Welcome, ladies. It's excited to have you. We're all excited to have you here with us. You've made a great choice. Congratulations for being here. You're going to feel empowered today, and you're going to be getting three things that you can pretty much take away that you can implement. So I'm here today with my colleague Reddy. I'll introduce myself first, Jeanette Bajalia. I'm president of Petros Financial Group, and I'm president and founder of Woman's Worth. And I founded Woman's Worth as a company that specializes with the unique life stage planning needs of women because we know we deserve better. So I'm excited to be sharing the Health Wealth Connection with you today with my colleague Goretti.
My name is Goretti Garcia. I am a financial planner for Petros Financial Group and for Woman's Worth. I'm also the Central Florida Regional Manager. I joined Woman's Worth about 5 years ago. I met Jeanette. I read her books, learned the mission of Woman's Worth, and I immediately identified with it. And if you can't understand me completely, it's because I'm originally from Spain, so I have a little accent. Let's just get that out of the way. But I am super excited to be here with all of you today.
We're going to make a bold promise to you because you need to hear this information because there's no area where gender differences are more prevalent than in the area of money and finances. And the bold promise we're going to make you is you're going to learn something today that's going to have a very positive impact on your future. And if you stay to the end, you're going to be getting a copy of my book, Wise Up Women. And the exciting thing about that is going to get deeper into the concepts that we're going to be talking about today. Because, my friends, no one understands the needs of women other than nothing like Goretti and I. So as we get involved in this webinar, I just want to give you a little disclaimer. We're not here to give you tax advice, investment advice. We're not here to give you legal advice. We're here to give you some compelling data and some exciting information that will empower you. You can walk away from this webinar with some impactful information that will help you continue the dialogue. We can get deeper in the dialogue and you're going to be given an opportunity to do that. But really the whole purpose of today is to talk about the health wealth connection that is ever so important for us. But before we get started, let me just kind of go over some housekeeping items. We're going to be sharing a lot of information. We're going to take about 45 minutes to share this information. We've condensed a 2.5-hour presentation to 45 minutes, and you're going to be seeing a chat box on the right side of your screen. So you want to be able to take advantage of asking questions and even taking advantage of the offer that we're going to be sharing with you. And when you see the chat box, you can, if you have difficulty or whatever, just send your questions in. We have a great admin team behind us, making sure we don't have any technical glitches. So let's just pretty much get right on with it. If you stay to the very end, as again, I said, you have some very important information. This is a copy of my book, Wise Up Women. This is when I released the 3rd edition of this book. And this 3rd edition of this book, you're going to have an opportunity at the end to schedule a 30-minute discovery call with and get a copy of this book, because this book, again, goes deeper into the health wealth connection. So if you have to jump off early, you don't want to miss our exciting offer. So we'll be sharing it with you periodically. So if you want to take advantage of it before you have to jump off. So now let me just move right on and get started with our transformational mission at Woman's Worth. Is to enable men and women to protect their lifestyles through lifestyle protection planning. It's a completely different model because longevity is redefining retirement planning for women. And I just need to share with you, it's more than the money. It's about your total well-being. And that is our mantra. And this webinar is going to cover 3 key points. The first point is going to cover is the health wealth connection, because we believe at Woman's Worth that longevity does not have to be associated with disease. We're going to talk about the health wealth connection and what finance-induced stress is doing to your life. The second point we're going to cover is longevity and retirement, because as I mentioned, Longevity is redefining retirement planning, and this is why lifestyle protection planning is much broader than financial planning or just investment management. And you need to understand the difference, and that is what our hope and desire is for today. And then you're going to talk about, we're going to share with you the retirement risks for women. Women are at greater risk. And we want to share with you how you can manage and control these retirement risks for a dignified and confident retirement, regardless of whether you live to 80, 90, or beyond 100. Because, my friends, it's never too early and it's never too late to get started with planning. It's essential that you just start. And you're going to leave this webinar with some tangible things that you can do. But first, I just want to congratulate all of you for being here. There's a lot of things going on that you could be in a part of, but congratulations, you have taken the first step to holding on to your wealth by holding on to your health. Because, my friends, as I said, you're never too old or you're never too young to get started, to understand the relationship and internalize that relationship between your health and your wealth. And to understand it, I just want to share with you that this webinar is for all of you. It doesn't matter what life stage you're in, whether you're single, whether you're married, whether you're an empty nester, or you got widowed unexpectedly, or you're the chief financial officer of your household because guess what? Yep. You got into a second marriage, and many of us are the CFOs now where we don't commingle assets. You are going to learn some helpful tips today and ways to prepare you for longevity through lifestyle protection planning. We're going to share with you the ideas that are going to take you to the long haul because, ladies, today you're going to be empowered to gain control of your financial, physical, and emotional future and understand the impacts of connecting. So I want to introduce you to one of my heroes. My hero, Ernestine. Here you have Ernestine. If you need a hero, yes, she is Ernestine. She started working out, physically conditioning herself at the age of 56. She won her first bodybuilding competition at 71. Look at those muscles. She's 83, my friends, and she can bench press 115 pounds. Is that amazing?
That's amazing.
Before I kind of get started with sharing with you why I'm here and why I do what I do, I follow Dennis Waitley, and he is a Hall of Fame speaker. He's an author, and this so resonates with my life, and I trust it resonates with many of your lives. Expect the best, plan for the worst, and prepare to be surprised. My friends, I experienced 3 surprises in my life, and my hope is that the surprises that can help you with your life planning and with your financial planning, because, my dear friends, what I learned in my three life experiences that defined who I am today, women are underserved in all industries. I'm going to share with you these 3 life events because I believe that is what will compel you to get deeper into your understanding what financial planning is. And that's really why I founded a company, Woman's Worth, that specializes with women. Let's go into my first experience. It's my caregiving experience. This is my mother right before she passed away at 93. I was a caregiver. 75% of caregivers in America are women. Can you believe that? And over 70% of nursing home residents are women. Well, I was a caregiver to a mother and a great aunt. I was a caregiver for over 30 years because I made the decision to keep my mother and my great aunt at home. I made the decision to have them age in place. My dad died unexpectedly at the age of 62. He left my mother and my aunt with a $562 Social Security check, no life insurance, and a mortgage. Now, how's that for poor planning? So I learned early on as a youngster, it's about planning for the unknown. My dad taught me that reality when I was only 26 years old. Now let's fast forward 10 years. My second life event is my personal health challenge. During this caregiving journey, I got the diagnosis that no woman wants. This is a picture of me at the age of 36 when I was diagnosed with breast cancer. I was working in an aggressive corporate career. I was a caregiver, and I am trying to kick cancer on its rear end by navigating all of my life demands and funding my own alternative treatment program, because that's what I opted for. So ladies, I understand planning for the unknown and being prepared when that life suddenly rears its ugly head. Now let me fast forward. Let's fast forward. At 55 years old, my mother and my aunt had both passed away. My 30 plus years of caregiving journey ended. My career lost its purpose. I was 55 years old, and it was time for me to create my next chapter in life. Didn't quite know what that next chapter was going to be, and you can read about it in my book when you request your copy of Wise Up Women, because I trust all of you will want to create your next chapter as well. And we'll give you that that complimentary consultation and book offer shortly. But I just really wanted to share with you that at 55, it was time for me to go and look for some financial planning help. I went and interviewed 5 financial advisors. I wasn't looking for a plan. I wasn't looking for investments. I was looking for a plan. I needed a plan because I knew it was more than the money. I knew I needed to have enough to live a long, vibrant life. And I realized that as I experienced the financial industry that really didn't understand me as a woman, I really realized that women are underserved. I'm here to communicate a critical message, because when I decided to retire and talk to these 5 financial advisors, all 5 of them wanted to sell me products. Didn't matter whether it was a stock, bond, mutual fund, variable annuities. They just did not understand the difference between planning and investing. I needed a plan. They wanted to sell me investments. They did not ask about my life goals, my dreams, what I wanted to do. They just didn't care. They cared about my money. And then when I started researching, I saw some shocking facts. 80% of women die single. My mother died single. My great aunt died single. I'm single. More than likely, I'll die single. That is a huge, shocking fact. Well, here's the other shocking fact. This is how I felt when I read that data. 80% of men die married. How's that work for you, ladies? Men, I say men basically, they marry their caregiver. That's what I say. So let's talk about the fastest growing segment of the US population. We sent along to you a how long you're going to live quiz. And I think many of you may have taken it. And if you haven't, I encourage you to take it. So let's launch a poll, because I'd really be interested in seeing how long y'all are going to live, so we can kind of internalize the reality of the health wealth connection. So let's launch this poll, and let's make sure that we can make sure that we see how many people, oh my gosh, just go ahead and respond. How long you're going to live? Look at this.
Most seem to be 85 to 90.
Yes. 80, and see, this is typical. Goretti and I speak at many events, and 85 to 90 is typically what we see. More people are saying, my mother's still alive, she's 97. So that's what we're here to talk about. We're here to talk about the health wealth connection and how to hold on to your wealth by holding on to your health. So with that, let's get into some longevity medical research. I followed 2 studies that speak about longevity. The research validates that lifestyle's a better predictor of longevity than heredity or your genes. I want to briefly share some of the preliminary findings. I guess you're asking, why are we covering these points? You need to think beyond wealth. You need to think about health. That's why it's important to focus on that health-wealth connection. And so here's a few of the key findings. Vitamins A, E, C, or calcium didn't make a difference. Nope, they didn't make a difference. They don't have a direct correlation to longevity. They make you healthier, but they don't have you live longer. Another key finding is that alcohol did make a difference. Alcohol made a big difference. 1 to 2 drinks a week, no more than 1 drink daily. And guess what, my friends? It's not just red wine. You know, you hear red wine. It can be some of the hard stuff. So drink up, my friends, and I'll meet you in the 100-year-old club. They also found that if you that exercise on average 15 minutes a day, 45 minutes max are really good correlation to longevity. Now, Goretti and I were talking, and I said, Goretti, what happens if you can you get healthier if you drank while you exercise? Can we put those two variables together? Maybe.
I think we should try it at least.
Yeah. The other thing they found is caffeine. They found that caffeine equivalent to 200 milligrams of caffeine, it's like a small Starbucks, has a direct correlation to longevity. So that's kind of the good news. But the other finding they found, they realized was beyond age 80, being a little overweight showed a 3% reduction in mortality. That's the good news. Finally, ladies, some good news about weight. This is how I felt day 43 in quarantine. It was not good. So we believe that in order to hold on to your wealth, you have to hold on to your health. Then let me quickly go over the Harvard study so I can pretty much share with you some of the compelling facts before Goretti talks into how to control some of these factors. All right, Harvard found, very important, and I'm sure you already know this, but have we internalized this, that a healthy lifestyle boosts women's longevity. And they found some critical components of what healthy lifestyle is defined as. They found that women who don't smoke, who maintain a healthy weight, who eat a healthy diet, and who get moderate, regular exercise, reduce their risk of dying, overall risk of dying by 55%. Those are 4 lifestyle factors, my friends, that are able to reduce your risk of dying by 55%. It reduces lifestyle changes, my friends, reduce your risk of dying of cancer by 44%. That's a huge impact with lifestyle changes. And get this, the risk of dying from heart disease, you can reduce your risk by 72%. And I'm particularly interested in this heart disease because the #1 threat to women is heart disease. It's the leading killer of women. That is important to recognize. So all that said to say, you can live healthier, you can live longer, you can have less medical expenses, and you can have less finance-induced stress, and aging does not have to be associated with disease. Let me quickly go over that you add this, the opportunity that we have at Women to some of the compelling reasons why women plunge into emotional and financial crisis. Widowhood. The average age of widowhood in America is 59. Let's talk about divorce. The fastest growing segment of the divorce rate is the 55 to 64 age group. That's ugly. That is ugly. And then we talk about the third risk, and that's longevity. Gosh, living longer means healthcare needs, but why would I want to spend money in healthcare if I can keep myself healthy. So it's important. We as women have a perfect storm that begs a need for lifestyle planning for the unknown as well as the known. Yes, you can plan for the unknown, and we'll talk about that. So as you look at the different life suddenlies, we didn't know COVID-19 was going to rear its ugly head and turn a lot of families upside down in turmoil. I didn't know I was going to get cancer at the age of 36. And my mom surely didn't know she was going to be widowed at 62 and have to live on a $562 Social Security check till the age of 93. That wasn't part of, what we knew. Finance-induced stress is creating havoc in women. And so we need to really all understand this, because we don't want to be losing sleep at night and waking up looking like this. That's not how we want to wake up. We want to wake up looking like this. Peaceful sleep. Sleep is important to maintaining our total health and well-being, and we want to have sweet dreams. Now, let's get into some basics. So how do you empower yourself to achieve total well-being? Well, Goretti is going to come and share with us some of the more tangible concepts for what you do to be able to hold on to your wealth by holding on to your health. She's going to talk about some of those wealth concepts. And if I had to pick a perfect colleague, a perfect individual to partner with, a perfect successor for Woman's Worth as a business and for the planning process that we do for women, it would be Goretti, because she represents, I'm the proud aunt of 35 nieces and nephews, and she represents all the greatest attributes of those, not the other attributes, the greatest attributes. If I could pull them all together and create someone who I would have great pleasure in working with, someone who's passionate, who's convicted on doing right by people, it would be Goretti. So here I have Goretti sharing with you some basics.
Thank you, Jeanette, for that nice introduction. I hope your nieces and nephews don't get mad at me. I love them all. But I also want to thank you for taking care of the most fun portion of this presentation and leaving me with the least entertaining half of it as we move into the money matters. But I want to, before I move on, I want to remind you, as Jeanette said earlier, that you can go into the link on the chat and basically there you can schedule the complimentary 30-minute consultation that we're offering to all of you, where we can either directly answer privately your personal questions that you may have, or identify ways where we can help you find a better path to retirement and laying a better foundation to ensure that you do not run out of money. When you sign up for that consultation, you will get one of Jeanette's books, Wise Up Women, where I wrote the foreword for it. I had the privilege of doing that. And we have it in English and we have it in Spanish, so you can request either one of them. But let's move to the money matters, because it probably is the least entertaining portion of this, but at the same time we want to make sure that we have the funds to fund those things that keep us healthy, because as Jeanette said, it's about the health and the wealth connection. So to make it a little more fun, I want to do a poll and ask you a question. I want to hear from all of you. Jeanette and I are very curious. When we ask this question, we get very different answers. What do you think is the greatest risks in retirement? What do you think is the greatest risks in retirement? And see what you guys have to say, or what you think. Which one is it? Some people are saying taxes. Some people may say healthcare costs, market volatility. So
healthcare costs, that's...
So I'll give you the answer, because we have a very smart audience here, because those of you who answer either healthcare costs or taxes, you were correct. Based on my personal experience on the families that I serve, market risk, interest risks, inflation should not be disregarded, but they're not going to be your biggest threats to retirement. Taxes and healthcare costs are, and those should be very well considered
Yes.
and taken into consideration, I should say, when we're creating your financial and lifestyle protection plan. And that's why it's so important to have, keep in mind the health and the wealth connection. Where do you start, you ask? I bet you all of you go to the doctor at least once a year to do an annual physical exam.
Yeah.
This is the same way it should be. You should also take a fiscal assessment. And the way you do that is by basically finding answers to several questions. Do you have a lifestyle protection plan? And do you have the right tools in it to take you from point A to point A to point B, to have the right solutions for your goals? Answer to that question. The other questions are you prepared for increasing healthcare costs? And how about, are you prepared to face long-term care costs? How about, do you have a plan that reduces or minimizes the taxes, unnecessary taxes? And finally, do you protect your nest egg from a market crash? And lastly, do you know how to avoid running out of money? Or if you are already retired, do you know if you are going to run out of money? So all of these questions are found, the answer to all of them are found through what we call lifestyle protection planning. It's a process that has a 4-component holistic planning process, which enables you to achieve your financial security and therefore your total well-being. So those financial attributes to financial security are 4 of them. And as you can see on this picture we chose, they all have to work together like a puzzle. But mind you, they are all going to work differently for each one of you, because of your goals are going to be different and your situation is going to be different. So let's address all 4 of these financial attributes, or attributes to financial security. The number 1 is financial protection planning. What's the cost of your retirement? Do you know how much money you need to fund the retirement of your dreams? And how is that? A lot. and the answer also, and also you need to consider, how is your lifestyle going to change during retirement? Because you may say, okay, I want to enjoy and create memories and take a family to an annual trip, the whole family. Or you may be starting to do some donation towards your grandkids' college, so your 529s. Or you may start donating some of the money to your charities of your choice. So everybody has different retirement dreams. So how are you going to fund yours? Another thing to take into consideration is income. At the end of the day, retirement, it's all about income. And 2 incomes come to mind that are going to be guaranteed. The number 1, the most important one, because we all have it, is Social Security. How are we going to maximize Social Security? In order to maximize the income overall, you need to integrate how you're collecting Social Security, how that's going to impact your taxes, your overall tax plan, how that's going to affect the amount of assets that you need to withdraw from your plan. All of those things have to work together as a whole. As I said, that's why we show you that puzzle. Let me say a few things about Social Security. Timing of Social Security is going to be essential so that you don't leave money on the table. There's over 400 different ways of claiming your Social Security benefit, and it's very unique to you and your DNA. Basically, I hear all the time, I have to sometimes convince people because my best friend took Social Security at 62, so I think I should too. Well, your best friend's situation may not be yours. As a matter of fact, Jeanette and I created a very strategic way of collecting Social Security for a married couple, where she's starting hers early. He's collecting on her benefit to delay his until 70 to take advantage of a higher benefit at 70. And at that point, she collects on him spousal benefit. And that created for them and their particular situation the best strategy to pay less taxes and maximize their income. Remember that? And the funny part of it was that
they argued with us. They argued with us.
yeah, two people at the Social Security office told them that they were not eligible to claim Social Security that way. So we have to help them get that process going. And yes, they were. So that's why it's important that you actually work with a financial professional. Another source of guaranteed income for some of you who work for Disney or Lockheed Martin is going to be your pension. And how to collect your pension is going to be very key as well, especially if you are married, because they may offer a survivor benefit. So is it better that I leave a portion of my pension to my spouse, or is it better to collect just on my life and take a life insurance policy so I protect my spouse for that loss of income? All of these decisions, again, have to be taken into consideration your Social Security, as well as your level of assets, your level of expenses, etc. That's why it's important to have absolutely proper planning and analysis, because you cannot do a one-size-fits-all decision. That type of decision could cost you actually hundreds of thousands of dollars during your lifetime. The second attribute of financial security that we're covering today is going to be longevity planning. And this is Jeanette's favorite, because this is, as she said when she was talking about her life events, this was one of the reasons, longevity planning, that her aunt and uncle and her aunt and mother didn't have, that caused her to start into financial planning. Longevity planning is basically two things. How are you going to pay for healthcare costs, but also how are you going to provide for your own long-term care costs? And for this, you need to figure it out ahead of time how it is that you want to age. Do you want to age at home and bring the care to your home? Do you end up selling your home and building a mother-in-law apartment at your daughter's or son's home? Or do you choose to live independently in an assisted living facility or a nursing home? All of those decisions have different price tags. So it is important to take them into consideration ahead of time so that we're prepared for when and if they come. This is why it's so important to take care of healthcare planning and long-term care planning. The healthcare price check. Look at this, ladies. A couple retiring today will need $285,000 in medical expenses. For a single person estimate, $150,000 is the estimate for a female. Yeah, ours is higher than the male, which is $135,000. And this only includes the Medicare premium, the supplements, and the co-pays. This doesn't even include your your dental, your vision, your hearing aids, etc. Those are not even covered. And don't be thinking that long-term care is not going to be for you, because actually 70% of those that reach the age of 65 or above will require some type of long-term care services and support during their lives. And Medicare is only going to cover the first 100 days of that care. Yeah. And the length is more than 100 days. The length of a stay in a nursing home is 2.5 to 5 years average. So that's a lot to prepare for. Are you ready for that, knowing that the national average cost in a skilled nursing facility today is $100,380? That's per year.
Yeah, not good.
And none of the facilities, none of the assisted living facilities are going to be the same. So you have to do a very thorough research, because none of them do competitive sports like the one on the picture, right? Jeanette and I were very concerned about the headlines that were coming up from nursing home facilities during COVID, and we want to make sure that you don't end up in something like that. I'm sure by now you may have some questions, so if you want to add those to the chat, we'll be happy to address them at the end of the presentation. The next subject, this is my favorite subject, is tax planning. Tax planning is basically how do I do a tax efficient distribution of income from my assets and all my guaranteed sources of income in a way where I keep more money in my pocket and I give away less to the government. That's basically what tax planning it's all about. And because it's a little complicated, I want to make it fun and simple. So I chose the story of clients of ours, but I changed their names to Sally and John. So I'm going to use them as an example to explain. John was collecting, they were both over the age of 65, and they were obviously filing their taxes as married jointly. And John was collecting $20,000 of Social Security, whereas Sally was collecting $10,000 of Social Security. But they needed an extra $30,000 a year that they were taking out of their IRAs. And basically, they live off of those $60,000 a year.
Yes.
Their federal tax due every year was about $988. So not bad. They had a very nice plan. However, one day, Sally went to her usual run to the grocery store, leaving John working in the rose garden in the patio. And when she came back home, she actually found John on the floor unresponsive. He had just suffered. He had just suffered a massive heart attack, leaving Sally widowed. As Jeanette said earlier, absolutely, it's a life suddenly. And as you said earlier, Jeanette, 80% of men die married, and 80% of us is going to die single. Yeah. This was the case of Sally as well. Now, Sally came to me when she had to file her first tax return as a single woman after she became a widow. At that point, she was able to switch to the higher earning of Social Security to her husband. So she took the $20,000, which left Sally needing $40,000 out of the IRA assets to come up to the $60,000 that she needed to basically continue her lifestyle. At that point, she filed her tax return as a single person, and her federal tax due was $5,357. That's a 442% tax increase that she wasn't expecting. So we don't want to have these types of surprises, ladies. Had Sally come to visit with us, Sally and John both together, had come to have a lifestyle protection plan built up for both of them, we would have considered, what about the life suddenlies? What about losing one source of income? What's the impact going to be like, and how do we protect both of you from that happening? Another thing to talk about when we talk about taxes is that not all monies are going to be taxed the same. So it's not only important to plan your taxes for retirement, but also ahead of retirement in your accumulation years, because the way you save your money is going to have a huge impact on your taxes in the future. So these are all the different types of accounts, and how they're treated for tax purposes is different. On a pre-tax account like your 401k or your IRAs, you'll know about those. You put money in and you don't pay taxes on what you contribute. But then in retirement, they are IOUs to the IRA, basically. So we're going to have to plan for that and saving all these other funnels so that we can take advantage of some tax-free advantages, or like in a Roth IRA. The next portion, or the last attribute of financial security, is actually estate planning, which is the legal documents that protect you while you're here and when you are no longer here. Now, I'm not an attorney. I don't claim to know anything, know it all about estate planning. An attorney should furnish these documents for you so that they protect your wishes and your intentions today. And there's different types of documents. So some, as I said, protect you while you're here, like your durable power of attorney and your medical power of attorney, as well as your living will. They all help you while you're here. But you also need to have your will or your trust or charitable trust, gift trust ready for when you're no longer here, so that those documents grant your wishes, the way they distribute the money, the way you intended it to be distributed before you left. The main reason why, as a Woman's Worth, focus on estate planning is because it's part of this holistic planning process, is because of the health and the wealth connection. So we know that at one point in our lives, we're going to need these documents, and we might have some health issues. Right now, we have been having a pandemic that we've been dealing with. So it's better to be prepared than having to come up with these documents in a rush, in an emergency, or when you don't have them and your heirs have to go through probate, those are instances where they're more expensive to get than when you plan ahead of time for them. And they're the greatest gift that you can give to your family and your loved ones. It's scary to us that only about 42% of adults actually have a will or a trust, or that only 53% of adults do actually have a healthcare power of attorney who's going to speak for you when you're in the hospital and you can't do so for yourself. I know that I have thrown a lot of information at you guys, and as Jeanette said earlier, our main intention with this webinar is to actually empower you. Sound your alarm, because knowledge is power, ladies. And Jeanette and I want you to take charge and start planning for your retirement earlier so that you're in control and you can give enough information to your heirs. So again, wrapping it all up, attributes of financial security are the answers to questions such as, do you have a life plan that gives you the confidence for dealing with the unknowns? What's going to happen if you're married, if your husband passed away?
Yeah.
Do you know when you can retire? Or if you are retired, do you know, make sure that you're not going to run out of money to live the type of retirement of your dreams that you want? And let me give you some final thoughts about another client of ours, like Sally, why it is important to have all of these pieces of information together. I call her Sally again. She actually wasn't married, but she had been living with this gentleman for 30 plus years. So they were, for all purposes in life, they were married to the eyes of everybody that knew them and even their families. But when he passed away, she actually lost the pension that he was contributing to at his employer because they were not legally married. And also she had to go through a very painful situation because there was some bank accounts that were only on his name and he died without a will. So because they were married, the courts basically dictated that that money isn't hers. This is why it is so key to partner with somebody that can help you, a like-minded advisor that can help you in all these 4 areas of lifestyle protection planning. We had to hold her hand and we guide her through this process. We created a plan for her. Now she's really happy that she obviously, came to the right place to get that accomplished. But we're getting to wrap up and we're going to try and address some of your questions when Jeanette finished this presentation up. So be sure to go into your chat box to type those questions.
Thank you, Goretti. That was excellent. As you know, that we have a gift for you, and we believe all of you listening benefited in some capacity. If you just were gathering information, we don't know what your particular situation is, and our gift to you is to continue your journey of discovery by partnering with us, and you'll see a copy of Wise Up Women book and the opportunity to schedule a complimentary 30-minute virtual visit. It could be a phone call, it could be a virtual visit, and we'll give you a copy of the Wise Up Women book, which goes deeper into many of the concepts we talked about. Because see, we can't answer all of your unique questions, but we know something, that if you register for this webinar, you are looking for some kind of information, but we want to give you the information relevant to you in this, what we call a discovery call. How would you value having a lifestyle protection plan that gave you the confidence and the peace of mind and empowers you to make all the right financial choices and to make sure you don't run out of money before you run out of time? That's what, at the end of the day, it's not how much money you have, it's how much you can use and keep in your pocket. Do you really understand the cost of your retirement and what life stage you're going to make sure you might need to increase your expenses? Because you need to bring some care in your home because you decided to age in place. And we want you to be prepared for escalating healthcare costs. And then we'll talk about long-term care costs. Because again, your savings was intended for a purposeful outcome. It wasn't intended to pay it in taxes, to pay it to the probate courts, to have unnecessary losses in the market. Yeah. You can keep hundreds of thousands of dollars in your pocket by making the right financial choices with regard to pensions and Social Security. And we want to make sure we offer you an opportunity to make sure your wills and your trusts. I don't like that data that Grady shared with us. 42% people are walking around without updated legal documents or no legal documents. That's not good. So we're offering you this opportunity for a no cost, no obligation, 30-minute discovery consultation, and you will get a copy of my book, Wise Up Women, in its 3rd edition. And if you want it in Spanish, we also have it in Spanish. So you'll see the offer in the chat box. Just go to the chat box and you can request your complimentary visit. And we have these, you're able to schedule it right there. Just follow that link in the chat box. And then when we give you, and then we'll collect the information to send you a copy of Wise Up Women book after it. So during this call, we're going to deal with things specific to your unique situation. Again, no cost, no obligation. It's just an opportunity for you to continue the journey to and through retirement. So as you look at that, when you click it, you'll follow it. If you have any questions, just send us anything in the chat box. And with that, I just want to congratulate all of you for being here, for putting in the time. I want to congratulate you because you took 45 minutes out of your time to learn, to empower yourself, and hats off to you. Whatever I can do, because you have taken the first steps toward optimal empowerment at today's webinar. So with that, remember I left you with, I began with one of my favorite quotes: expect the best, plan for the worst, and prepare to be surprised, by nationally recognized author and speaker Dennis Waitley. Remember when I said that earlier? It's about creating a plan for worst case scenario, expecting the best, and prepare to be surprised. Now, as I end, I want you to imagine it's your 93rd birthday party and you're celebrating. And by celebrating, you're celebrating your health, you're celebrating your vitality at 93. Sure, you could have straighter posture, perhaps firmer skin, but you're not in pain and you're still active and you're living independently. You're still enjoying life and you're an amazing inspiration to your family and your friends. And why would that be the case? Because more than likely, when you reach that life stage, you've committed to a financial security plan that was holistic. You're able to sleep soundly at night, knowing that you can take care of yourself independently and you're still living independently, and you have enough money to be able to bring in whatever kinds of care that you want. You have enough money to do whatever kinds of birthday celebrations you want to do. And you're able to tell your loved ones how much you love them and be an amazing inspiration. And you've left them, as Grady said, the greatest gift. You left them the legal documents that protect you and protect them through their lifetime. And most of all, you have that peace of mind. And because you have the peace of mind and you have all of this put together, you just go right back to your Zumba class and you continue bench pressing like Ernestine. That's what's key. So I want to congratulate you for making a wise decision to be on this webinar today. And I just want to empower you to hold on to your wealth by holding on to your health. So don't forget to click on the link, request your consultation for a complimentary visit to give you your specific information that you need, and get a copy of my book, Wise Up Women. Thank you for being with us, and you have a blessed day.